Hi. So today I want to speak to you on a topic that I don't often speak about, but it's very meaningful for me. And if I want you to get to know me better, then I think I should be very open and honest with you. On this channel, I explore what it means to thrive in committed relationships, right? How to mend broken connections and why therapy may not always be the answer. I'm also passionate about discussing the powerful link between financial and emotional wellness. But today, I want to share something deeply personal, and that is my journey back to the Catholic Church. You'll often hear me talk about the power of curiosity, especially when it comes to repairing and maintaining relationships. But curiosity doesn't just apply to others. It's also about asking honest questions of ourselves. Many of us don't want to get curious about ourselves. And I think a lot of us are scared to look at ourselves because it can be pretty dark sometimes. But, this story begins about 4 years ago for me when someone asked me, like, seemingly a very simple question, which was, "Are you happy?" And I was like, at first I wanted to brush it off. I thought, of course I'm happy. Then I realized I wasn't. But the question, and the question lingered quietly, just challenging me constantly. So deep down inside, I knew the truth. I wasn't truly happy, at least not consistently. And at that time, I was in my early 50s, and I realized that genuine joy was something I experienced maybe 30% of the time, if I was to be completely honest. And I knew it wasn't really my external circumstances that was causing it. It was something deeper inside me, something I couldn't ignore anymore. And so I began searching. Like as I mentioned, it wasn't my external, like on the outside, because on the outside everything looked good. I mean, doesn't it for everybody on the outside? It all looks great until maybe it's not. And we know that, what we have in terms of physical, materialistic things is not what brings us happiness. And, you know, even when I think back to my business, it was thriving. Well, maybe thriving is a strong word, but it was doing very well. And so, in an egocentric way, you could say that, yeah, like, I mean, I'm getting lots of attention. I'm getting, lots of like requests for, I was just doing therapy back then. I wasn't doing coaching, and I was getting a lot of satisfaction from my work, but like there was something else. And pondering on it and reflecting a little bit more, my first reaction, like I didn't turn to therapy because to be honest, I didn't feel broken, and instead, I turned to coaching, which gave me a framework for discovery. While coaching didn't give me the answer, it did point me in the right direction. I have to say that. I began a daily practice of contemplative thought, prayer, and reading spiritual literature. Um, you know, my mornings that used to start with vigorous activity has now transformed into moments of quiet reflection. I light a candle in the darkness, especially right now, being we're in the Christmas season. And, there's something really special about winter mornings. It's interesting because in the summertime, when I get up early, let's say before dawn, it's so dark. It's so dark. And you think winter is a darker time of the year, but in the mornings, it's actually like the snow on the ground reflecting, I guess to the atmosphere. But like it's just so, especially in a full moon, for example, it's beautifully bright in many ways in the morning. And I mean at night, sort of thing. So it's really a great time to spend in solitude. So yeah, I light a candle and spend time journaling, praying, or what I say, just talking with God. So for 2 years, I followed this path, and I slowly but surely, felt more joy. But it wasn't until this year, 2024, that everything changed for me. Like one day, while browsing YouTube, a platform I usually approach with curiosity, I discovered Bishop Robert Barron. And let me know when I say approach, YouTube cautiously, what I mean is that I approach all social media very cautiously because, I've seen what social media can do to people. They really detach from themselves. So this was especially exciting. And honestly, that's why I love YouTube and that's why I'm here. I just think, like for me, especially, it's an educational platform. That's what I use YouTube for. Anyway, back to Bishop Barron. His teachings, really reignited my love for Catholicism and reminded me of my roots and the profound importance of faith, trust, and love. Around the same time, a client told me about her husband attending a nearby church, and it made me curious. And I asked her, about like which church, and she in fact doesn't attend church, but she mentioned how much he enjoys a new priest that is at the church. And her words stayed with me, and I decided to give, that church a try. And that decision was really life-changing for me because returning to Mass, hearing deeply, deeply inspiring sermons, and experiencing the Holy Spirit fill my heart, all of it brought me back to the church. I returned again and again. And it felt especially good to go to confession after years of being away. It was a sense of, I guess, lightness, for me to be able to attend confession again. It gave me a sense of lightness. So for the first time in a very long time, I can say I am very happy, not just occasionally, but most of the time. Nothing or very little has changed for me externally. And in fact, on certain levels, one could say in an external sense, and I'm not going to get into why, you could almost say it's not as good now as it was before. But even knowing that, I just have so much peace in my heart and trust, so much trust. And the trust is what brings me peace. There's very little anxiety in my life right now. Sure, I have bouts of questioning and bouts of doubt and bouts of fear, but I know what to do now when that comes. And it doesn't stay with me very long. And what's even more special is this. For the first time since childhood, I feel a profound, sense of joy in my heart. Like, especially like when I say since childhood, especially as we celebrate this Christmas season, you remember how you were as a child during Christmas? Like now, I have that back again, without the need to really open gifts. It's just because it's that time of the year. So if any of you are interested, if you're interested in knowing more about this, and if you want me to share more about this, or even like some of the book titles that I have read and brought me joy, let me know, and I would be very happy to share that with you. Oh, and then finally, what I meant by stating that therapy is not always your best answer. Like therapy often suggests that you're broken and there's something deep inside you that needs to be fixed, and that's not true. And I don't think that's ever true. You're never broken, at least in God's eyes, you're never broken. Um, I think it's your own thoughts and your own beliefs about yourself that has made you feel broken. But for any of us that have a good relationship with God, we know that it's not true. And if you don't have that relationship with God right now, I know that, it will come, and it just involves practicing your faith, making it very, very active part of your life. So thank you for letting me share this journey with you. And if my story resonates with you, or if you're curious about, rediscovering joy in your life, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Okay, thanks for watching.